Good morning. I'm Dr. Velasquez, Health Officer for Spokane County. Thank you for joining us today. And today I have with me to my right, this is my right, Lisa Woodard, who's the Communications Outreach Manager for the Regional Clean Air Agency.
That's right.
It's a very long title, and
Yes.
you've seen Lisa here before with us many, many times, so thank you for coming. Then we have Adam Swenson, who is one of our community outreach workers. Thank you for joining us today. And today's conversation is very appropriate to where we are in terms of time, and also if you remember in the last week or so, we had a few issues with air quality because of wildfire smoke. And by the way, thank you again to our firefighters and first responders. You did an awesome job. I've been shown like 10,000 pictures of the planes and all these wonderful things, so they were out in force. So I think today we want to circle back to why is it that we need to have a conversation about wildfire smoke, and why is it important for all of us to, at this time of the year, kind of think about that a little bit again. So that's why I invited Lisa and Adam to talk to us about that. So, starting with, why is that an important issue for this community?
Well, as you know, Spokane has been hit with smoke. In fact, in 2012, we experienced our first real heavy smoke day from wildfire smoke in terms of it affecting our health-based air quality standard for fine particles.
Wow.
So going back to 2012, we've started having issues most summers. And in fact, the last 5 years, we've averaged about 6 days each summer where air quality has been over the health-based standard. So smoke is a real thing that's happening in our community. It poses health risks, and it's something that we need to really take seriously.
Okay. Adam, any thoughts from you on, as you go in the community, or hear from people? Is everybody ready? Are we thinking about it?
Yeah, we definitely want it to be, with this campaign that we're on, the Smoke Ready Spokane campaign, it's really about being as preventative as possible, so making sure everyone is prepared before the actual wildfire season. Although we did have some earlier stuff this year, we wanted to be people to be as prepared as they possibly can.
So I know that the Smoke Ready website is a crucial place for all of us to be aware. But I also know, because I hear from people, there's so much stuff out there that people get overwhelmed with the amount of information. What would you say to the folks in terms of, okay, go here and this is the information that you need to be aware of? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, smokereadyspokane.org has a ton of different resources that we kind of collected through a bunch of different resources through the Clean Air Agency, through our agency, and through the Gonzaga Climate Institute. And we've compiled it all on to the website. We've got a way to check air quality, a link to get that. We also have a lot of different resources, so a lot of how-tos and different information about wildfire smoke and how it can affect your health.
And that's one thing nice about it, is that it's a one-stop shop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because you guys have, Health District has materials, we have materials, Department of Health, there's just a lot of stuff out there. So we curated what we felt was the most important information, the most vital information, and put that on smokereadyspokane.org. And we hope that website is up for many years to come beyond the grant, the life of the grant. So it was a grant that we were able to secure with you guys and Health District and Gonzaga to put these resources together. So it is kind of a one-stop shop, and as Adam mentioned, you can click on and get the current air quality right from that page.
So I'm glad to hear, because I think also people ask, well, I went on this website and then I went on that website. So I think curating, I think is a great word, and aggregating. So it's like I go and click and everything is there. Any important instructions for people as they navigate that? What should they be looking for when they go and click on that website? What will you say?
Well, we have it's spelled out pretty nicely. We have like a checklist. So when we talk about preparing for wildfire smoke, having that checklist, I think, is really important. And I think probably the single most important thing to prepare for wildfire smoke is to, take it seriously, as we know it's a health concern, but to create a cleaner airspace in your home. Home where you're a space where you're going to be spending the most of your time. So it might be a living space, your living room, it may be a bedroom, and that's an area where you can improve and work to keep that air quality as clean as possible by having a HEPA portable air filter, portable air cleaner, a room that has few windows and doors. So you have that space so that when air quality does degrade, you can get in your home and you can feel more confident that that space is prepared and ready. Because when it is smoky, one of the big messages is to reduce your activity outdoors. And so going indoors doesn't mean it's going to be better air indoors. So probably the single biggest thing you can do now to prepare is to ensure you have cleaner air in your home. So if you have a central air system, you know, having the best filter your system can handle. And having supplies on hand, because supplies do sell out when it gets smoky outside. So having those supplies ahead of time.
What kind of supplies would you
The
recommend?
extra furnace filters.
Okay.
You know, if you have a central system or if you have a forced air system, making sure you have a couple spare filters. When it's really smoky out, those filters get clogged pretty quickly. So you want to get those replaced. So having those supplies on hand is a big thing to prepare.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that, because one of the questions people have is, well, I'm not going to be out there, so what am I going to do? And you just told us what we should be doing. You said there's a checklist, and for those of us that still use paper, can you print that checklist, or do you have to keep it
It's
electronic?
probably printable.
I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I haven't tried to print it, but
Just checking. There's
but
some
that's a
of
good-
us that like printing stuff, so we can
Right.
just keep it.
Yeah.
But having a clean space, I like what you said, which is let's not assume that all the air in every single space in your home is going to have the same air quality, because it's impacted by windows, by the ventilation of the air conditioning system and the other vents. And people tend to forget that even if the AC is not running, you still have ventilation coming through. So, you know, talk to your expert on your heating, cooling systems, and ask them what's the best way to set them up and do the filter replacement and so on and so forth, which you should do anyway. So one of the things that I think is very important, air smoke and air quality impact is not the same for all.
Yes, yes.
Because there's a lot of factors that will impact the ability of someone to handle that. Let's talk about that a little bit so people are aware. What can you tell us?
Yeah. Well, on the website smokereadyspokane.org, we have resources for like what Lisa was saying, you know, how to make a cleaner air room. But we also know that not everyone can afford a HEPA filter or those sorts of things. So we also have resources on how to make a DIY filter using a box fan and a furnace filter. We also have information. We know that not everyone can stay indoors. Some people have to work outside. Some people still have to go outside. So we have information about how to find the right mask if you do have to go outside, as well as you know, resources on how to be outside as healthily as you can if you have to be outside for work or for other reasons.
Okay.
But you did bring up a really good point as well,
Yeah.
is for otherwise healthy individuals, they may be able to spend a little bit more time outside than others. But still, when it's really smoky out, you do want to reduce your exposure, because over the course of your lifetime, your lungs are exposed constantly. And so, but there are people who are more sensitive to smoke, who are at a higher risk, right? And we've talked about those in past years, and we have that information on our website. But adults who are 65 or older, their immune systems are already a bit compromised, and they may have existing conditions. People with heart conditions, you know, while exposure to smoke has shown increase in stroke and heart attacks, people who have respiratory ailments, conditions, COPD, asthma, so they're going to be at higher risk. Pregnant people are at a higher risk. There have been plenty of studies on smoke effects to fetus and to them all. So there are people in our community who are more sensitive, or more maybe at greater risk is a better way to put it.
How about
from
infants?
smoke. And infants, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah, children up to really 18. Children's lungs are still developing.
Right.
They breathe 50% more air per pound of body weight than we do. They're just active outdoors. And so they are definitely at a higher risk. So keep those little ones inside when it's smoky out.
Okay, and don't forget your pets.
And pets, yes. Pets
Can't forget
breathe
your
as well.
Pets, yeah.
Yeah.
Pets breathe as well. So I think there's a lot of information we've shared, where to go, what you can do at home, just to make sure that it's safe. Who do we need to be aware of? So if you have a relative, a neighbor, a friend that fits any of those criteria, you know, you just text them, give them a call, go and knock on the door and say, hey, how are you doing? And make sure that we're all taking care of each other, because that's one of the best things that anybody can do. just be mindful of those around you and be helpful.
That's right. Yeah, check
So-
in on your friends and neighbors, and we talk a lot about physical health, but mental health is a issue too. I mean, when we're cooped in day after
Yeah.
day,
Yeah.
we haven't, we've had some years where we've had multiple days in a row where you're cooped up inside, and that can take a toll on our mental well-being. So, give yourself a break. Try to do some activities that you enjoy, the reading, yoga, different things that you can do indoors, and just try to take care of yourself and check in on
Check
others,
in
as
on
you
others,
mentioned. That's
yeah.
really important as well.
Well, I think in the last week or so, it was a wake-up call. Again, grateful for all the efforts that prevented this from being something a little bit more impactful, although it was impactful enough. But it was interesting to talk to people that had to move away from their homes. So let's not forget those that sometimes are not going to be home because they cannot be home. And there are things that we can do as a community to take care of them. And the same mental health issue applies because they're concerned, they have issues, they don't know what's going to happen. So let's make sure that we're taking care of each other. And that's usually the best way to address anything that comes our way. I think we stay together, we can address pretty much anything that comes
Yes,
our way.
yes.
Right?
And one thing I'll say is if you do have to leave the home but still want to be in a safe space, there are some areas or places that have cleaner air spaces, like the libraries are
Libraries,
a
yeah.
good resource for that, where you could go, you could be around people, but you're in a clean space as well. So.
And our community centers, a lot of our
Community
community
centers, yeah.
centers are getting retrofitted,
Yeah.
their HVAC systems
Yeah.
are being upgraded. So our community, our cities and our communities are, over the years, have become much more resilient, more set up to address smoke issues. We've got some systems in place now that maybe we didn't have a decade and a half ago, for the unhoused to go where there's heat and smoke. And that's another thing we talk about too, is when we have heat, extreme heat with
Right.
extreme smoke, that can be not a good combination. So
That is a
if you
powerful
do not have a
combination.
way to stay cool in your home, you need to find shelter elsewhere, because that's of utmost
Okay.
urgency is the heat.
So knowing where you can go in the event that you have to leave your home or you are not able to develop that clean space in your home for whatever reasons, there's many reasons for that. There are other places that you can go and check the air quality and make sure that you can then go back home in a safe way. So what I'm going to do is, with the last few minutes, I'm going to use the powers invested in me and grant you one wish to each one of you, okay? So my one wish is if you wanted any of us to do something today, so I'm going to ask you both the same question, to improve, to prevent, to do better as we get into this wildfire smoke season, what would that be? And I'll grant you that wish.
And so it's smoke related, right?
It's smoke
Because
related,
the whole issue is
and
not
you're
starting
gonna
fires in the
ask,
first place. right?
everybody
Start-
everybody
yes.
to do that.
I probably jumped ahead and covered that a little bit with the cleaner airspace.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, take smoke seriously,
Okay.
right? Because you're not going to take the action if you really don't think smoke is going to harm you.
Yeah.
We do hear sometimes in the community, someone outdoors when it's real smoky, and the response is, well, I'm healthy. I don't really need to be concerned about this. So, be concerned about smoke.
Okay.
I mean, it's we talk a lot about cigarette smoking and secondhand smoke. Well, this is wildfire smoke. It's got a lot of harmful compounds and gases in it, so we want to be aware of that and take it seriously.
Yeah, I would say definitely. I would definitely want to grant everybody a clean air space. Also, just to be educated and to know how it'll affect you, how it'll affect your family members, and just be granted that knowledge, I guess.
Okay, so that is great. So by the powers invested in me, I'm going to grant us the wish.
You're all
So,
educated now.
Number one, make sure that everybody is aware, and we told you where you can go and find the information, right? Go to the website. Number two, and this is all kidding aside, wildfire smoke is a serious issue, and we need to take it seriously. The good news is we have a lot of tools to keep everybody safe, but each one of us has to do our job. And the third is we're all going to be good friends and good neighbors. And we're going to take care of each other regardless of what happens over the next few months. We'll stay positive and hopeful that there's not going to be a lot of wildfire smoke, but we just have to be prepared.
Yeah.
Okay, and bet, we may not need to use everything, but the important thing is know where to go. Take it seriously and be aware, not alarmed, aware. Awareness is very important, and education will inform you on the best way to do it. So I want to say thank you to Adam and Lisa for coming today. I'm sure we'll talk some more as the months go by and we address a few other issues. We moved here in 2012, so it wasn't our fault. That had nothing to do with that. But I do have to say I've seen a lot of progress being made in terms of knowledge and activities to promote clean air for all of us, wildfire smoke and all the things. So thank you to everybody. Thank you for joining us today. Stay safe, stay well. I hear the weather is going to change again, which is June. So you never know if it's going to rain, snow, or be 90 degrees. But, be mindful of that too and take care of yourself and others. Stay well, and we'll see you again next week. Thank you for joining us today.